Streaming. Oh my god, guys. We're live on the internet. Oh, we will be in about 7 seconds.
As if.
Streaming. Oh my god, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, Chris Leithco is in the chat room.
I don't see why people are so mocking of the Valley Girl accent. I think it's like the sexiest female accent devised.
Catch me outside, how about that? Do you remember that?
That's slightly retarded.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. You've got all four of us. It's live news for February, just scraping into February. It will soon be March, in fact, tomorrow. It's been a busy old month. Let me pull up some notes, and we can have a catch-up with some shit we've been up to. I feel like I need to do something before we actually fully start. I don't know. Everything just seems to have worked straight away. I'm not used to that. But no, everything seems to be all present and correct. So let's crack on. I shall go first then. Oh, that's what I need to do, but it's not hugely important. It will wait. So just a bit of, it's been just a busy month. It's a short month, obviously, only a few days, but it does make a difference. Just been busy with family stuff, house stuff, just random shit just keeps creeping up on us. Spent a few days with Paula's parents. They've just got back from a month-long trip down to South Africa, so just busy stuff, not much free time really. The free time I did have, I started messing about with some LoRa stuff. LoRa. So I picked up a couple of Heltec LoRa devices, and I set one up on TinyGS and got that working. The aerial wasn't great that came with it, so I just got a mag mount aerial, stuck it on top of the metal roof on one of the sheds. So that's happily chatting away to satellites. Scott,
nice,
I can hear you
Mike.
rustling.
It's good to see. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. I've been sorting my
Lego by colours and sizing. Again. Literally. So yeah, TinyGS is. Go on.
You got TinyGS up and running, and you now have a satellite ground station, huh?
Yes.
Sorry, the yellow ones are louder than the black ones.
Yeah, I know. Not usually the case, but.
And the square ones just aren't falling into place. Go ahead, just talk over my Legos. You'll be fine.
Okay. So the device that I got was a Heltec V3, which isn't officially supported by TinyGS. It's working, it's talking fine, it's downloading packets. Every so often, maybe a couple of times an hour, it will just drop off my Wi-Fi for a few minutes and then come straight back. But in the meantime, it's still talking to satellites, so it's just a bug somewhere. Someone said, oh, it's the aerial. I put a bigger aerial on, it wasn't that. Someone else said it's the power supply. I've changed it to a much beefier one. It isn't that. So it's not on the officially supported device list, so I think it's just some bug somewhere. But it is working up and running. The other one I planned on using with Meshtastic. Just haven't had time to set that up. I've flashed the firmware to it, and that's pretty much as far as I got. It's not communicated with anything. So I will try and have a play about with that in the next couple of weeks. Although I've been on the Meshtastic map and I can see every so often some devices near me, like putting out sort of temperature, moisture levels, that kind of stuff. So, maybe some sensor devices in, some remote pumping station or something like that maybe. There's one off the coast, just a bit north of Blackpool, I think it is, called I'm a Boat, and it just sits there all the time, and it keeps pinging a few on land. So I don't know if it is a boat or it's something else, but it's out at sea anyway. So I will start.
What's the name of your
that.
station there, Michael?
James Home.
All right, let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, if you type JAM, I think it's the only one, or like one of three or something.
The one thing I hate about it is that you can't easily navigate the map. It's just a pisser to use.
Yeah.
But all right, let's see here. Manchester, I bet.
Indeed.
Let's
So the
see.
one at the Computer Museum, we had one there. That got rained on a little while back, so that one's not live anymore. I did find it the other day, tried booting it, and it's just completely dead. So it's got water damage on it. So that one is dead.
Well,
So
that's a
I'll be
shame.
the only one around here, I think. Or maybe there's a couple of others not too far away, actually.
Oh, there's a couple others. There's one in Pennington.
Yeah.
One. Let's see. I'm still. Are
Gotta
you,
get
you
that
near?
building report.
You near Bolton, right?
Not too far.
I've found James home. Last seen 11 minutes ago.
Yeah, so it's in a
It's
period
offline.
of offline then. It will come back.
Can you guys give me a quick download on some of this Meshtastic stuff? It just kind of hit my radar recently with these guys that are building these like military grade internet radio station things and shit like that with these different devices like Reticulum and stuff like that.
Military grade.
Scott will probably know more about it than I do.
So Meshtastic is nothing more than like a relay network. So you have radio beacons, and so like let's say like for example, you're where you're at. Let's say that Random lived about a third of the way between us, and UK Mike lived about another third of the way, right? I could send a message, and it doesn't rely on the cell network or anything. It's just radio, so it's a fairly long-ranged burst radio. So basically, it would send the transmission, and it would hit Mike's house. Mike would relay it. It would hit Random's, and then it would be relayed from Random's on to me, right? So the range can be pretty extraordinary. With the right antenna and height, you can shoot, up to 200 kilometers with this. Sometimes it might be as little as 10 or 20. It just depends on conditions and antenna. But the one I've got at my house, I can ping a pretty damn big radius. Now the hardware is similar to what he's talking about, TinyGS. So that's Meshtastic. And other mesh.
Mine's on camera now.
families.
That's the size and
yeah.
scale of it. If you see that, it's got a tiny little aerial that came with it. That's not going to really do the job. You will need
Yeah.
a bigger antenna, but that's literally the size of it. It's not booted up. It
Mine's,
does have a little screen there with information on it. It's not booted at the moment, but that is it. A tiny thing. And I can Bluetooth that to my phone and use it to communicate on the phone via this network.
So I've got basically the same board that he's got, and mine. It's just up here. I just can't really reach it. Really, it's the cables are like clipped in, so it's mounted, but it looks exactly the same. However, outside I've got like a 2.5 meter dish, right? So I've got like monster footprint, so I can pick up like incredible packets. So the two different products we're talking about here that use essentially the same physical board. These are just basically it's a CPU, a computer, and then an RF tuner that covers a range, right? What you do with it is up to you. So in one case, we're doing this LoRa, so we're doing long-range, off-the-grid radio communications. So you can text, send images, send voice clips, and then the other thing is TinyGS. So all these universities and other institutions, you always hear about them. Oh, they're building their own satellite, right? Every fucking university in the United States is building their own satellite. That's easy. There's tens of thousands of them sitting in rooms all over universities that have been built. Only a few, ever actually get to space because it just takes the right combination of available, rack space and a program that's willing to donate it, plus the risk of, deployment of other, little microsats around your multi-million to billion-dollar satellites. So the gist of it is you get a free ride up to space, the little microsats get spit out, and then there's no ground station network per se. Like, let's say you're the University of Mark, right? The University of Mark builds a satellite, they launch it, and then every day it comes over. University of Mark's satellite just went dead. People, did you see him drop off?
He's
There
here.
he is. So the University of Mark's satellite is going around the Earth, right? Now it passes over your house in North Carolina about once a day, maybe twice a day, just depends on the geometry, right? And what orbit it is. But let's say now I have a ground station that can receive your satellite at my house. Mike has one at his house, and whoever else has one elsewhere, right? So now every time the satellite goes over my house, every time it goes over Mike's house, it receives your transmissions and then relays them to you. So gratis, So basically, the University of Mark can now have its own satellite, and all these volunteers all over the Western world provide ground stations so that your data gets picked up every couple of minutes instead of once a day. So let's say you have a satellite and you're going to measure, say, the Earth's magnetic field. So you got a magnetometer on a platform, right? So instead of getting sample points a couple times a day or downloading them if they're stored, which has its limitations, they're just automatically going to beacon out, and anybody who picks it up is going to relay that information to you. So it's a volunteer ground station system for satellites done by, typically educational institutions. So pretty cool. It's just a nice thing to help universities and other institutions participate in.
Could some of these systems, it seems like these guys are trying to are they trying to reinvent the internet with Reticulum and some of these other things? So it's more encrypted. Is that kind of?
Well, I mean, you could, right? You could encrypt and then send, but the encryption isn't really tied to the medium. It's just the obvious pairing is let's have a way to send messages that doesn't rely on the cell phones or internet, and then let's encrypt it, right? So it's two different thoughts, but often paired together.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I'll have a mess about with Meshtastic, as I said, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So last weekend, we had some visitors. AD, Kelly, and Holly came up for the weekend. Stayed at the hotel just up the road. Kelly doesn't like cats, so she doesn't come in the house. So they stayed at the hotel. Little Ben and Maria and Amelia joined us as well, so we hung out. On the Friday, we went, of all places, to the Traff. There's a Lego Discovery Centre over there, so Holly went over there and built some stuff. You got some stuff free, there's some exhibits and things, so they spent the morning there. We had a mooch, went for coffee and snacks with Ben, caught up with him, not seen him for a little while. We chat every so often on WhatsApp, obviously, but not seen him face to face or Maria for a while, so had a good catch up. Then the Saturday we went into Manchester, went to the Museum of Illusions, which is not the cheapest museum in the world, but it's just really interesting. It's good for adults, good for kids, literally illusions, the kind of rooms which are sort of offset where one person stands one corner, one stands the other, so one person's huge, the other's tiny, that kind of thing. Just loads of really cool illusions. Kids loved it. We're in there, I don't know, an hour, just over an hour, something like that. And then we, what did we do then? Oh, yeah. Holly wanted to go back and have a swim in the hotel, so they did that. We went out for dinner with little Ben and then went back to the hotel, spent the evening with AD. And then Sunday morning they left and we called at Paula's parents, which is sort of on their way home. So hung out there for a couple of hours, had coffee and pastries, all very civilized. So that was a good weekend. Some podcast news. Random Dave this
Mike,
month.
real quick.
Go on.
Mike,
Yeah.
just real quick. Mark, take a look in WhatsApp, and you'll see a link I posted in there to Mike's ground station. Just take a look through it. Basically, it has infantilized version of what we use in actual space flight. And so it's a very simple display of when the satellites are coming over a station, the number of packets received, what it looks like. So it's like a baby version of what you deal with in space flight. So,
And
Mike,
I can see,
go ahead.
Yeah, I can see I'm currently being pinged by a satellite that's about to move over Norway. So, what was I saying? Yeah, some podcast news. Random Dave has just recorded, and you will have just heard it, his 100th top 10. Way to go, Random Dave.
Ooh, 100.
Yeah, I meant to get a cake and I forgot all about it. Just been too busy. So. We'll buy him a sausage in Blackpool
Nice.
next time we're over there. And his random thought, which you won't have heard yet because it's after live news, I think. He had a random thought that statistically, at least one of our listeners will have murdered somebody. I don't know where he gets his stats from, but
If it's true, I mean,
statistically, if it's true, I want you to email us and tell us who you think it is.
like a Columbo. Just one more question. When you went to Sheffield,
I mean, he may well be correct. I don't think
the body
statistically.
was already in the basement when you got there. Is what you're saying.
I don't think statistically one of the hosts will have murdered somebody, but you never know. You never know.
Sokar murdered all his goodwill on the internet.
yeah. We did have someone who was criminally insane, but yeah. Not really. What I don't think I've watched a single movie other than a couple of weeks ago. Paula and I were just chatting. She's never seen Blazing Saddles, so
What?
yeah. Do I know this person? I don't know.
I knew there was something off about her.
Yeah. So the other Friday we watched Blazing Saddles. Still as funny as ever. I fucking love that film. It's great. Really, really good.
What was Dear Paula's reaction?
Oh, she liked it. She likes stupid humour. She's not a big fan of slapstick or lots and lots of swearing to be funny, but yeah, she likes stupid movies, Airplane, Police Squad, Naked Gun, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it went down well. TV shows, Midnight Mass I watched on Netflix. It was okay. Sort of, well, I won't spoil it. But it's only 7 episodes, I think. Easy to blast through that. Landman came back for season 2. Watched that. I thought it was a really strong season. I thought it was better than season 2. Just really, really good. I do enjoy that show. Platonic came back for season 2. Watched that. That's Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. Just a half-hour comedy. They are friends and hang out together and get up to shenanigans. And, of course, we will probably have all have watched it by now, but Fallout season 2. I imagine we've all finished it. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Not started it yet.
No,
Oh. I thought it was really good.
Don't worry about it.
I got it. It's a good job they did a recap because I started it off and I'm just sat there thinking, I don't remember what the hell happened in season 1. So really glad they did a decent recap. Just thought it was a really strong season. So definitely recommend that if you haven't watched it. Games-wise, not too much, to be honest. Again, like I said, not too much free time. But I finished Angel of Darkness. Glad I did it. Won't need to do it again. It probably isn't as terrible as some people think it is, but it's not without its issues. I also completed Curse of the Sword, which is the second Game Boy Color Tomb Raider game. I did the first one years ago, never actually completed the second, so I did that. And I started Tomb Raider Anniversary. Which version am I on? It's on the Steam Deck. Probably the PC version, I imagine. Don't know. I've got it in a couple of places. I think I've got it on GOG and I've got it maybe in Steam as well. So I'm playing that. Not got too far through it. The controls are very different. All the buttons are different to what they were in the original Tomb Raider. So it took me a little while to pick that up. But it's basically a remake of the first Tomb Raider, isn't it? Anniversary. So some of the levels, as I'm going through them, I think, oh, I know what this is. Like the first bit where you're in the first sort of cavern and you're going across that wooden drawbridge kind of thing, and the bears are in the pit below you. So that, completely remembered that from playing it on the first one. So I am playing through that at the moment. And that, ladies and germs, is my month.
So funny enough, Afterglow podcast commented in the chat here that he was saying the LoRa looks very similar to what the lottery machines used to communicate that he works with. That's interesting because I wouldn't have thought they would do their own mesh network because pretty much like any location, like, convenience stores, gas stations, whatever, would have Wi-Fi. And today, a lot of coin-op stuff, what was formerly coin-op, like if you see vending machines, they'll have a Wi-Fi or a cellular modem so that they can use, pay systems, and have a connection. So that's interesting that they're using a mesh. That's curious. I didn't think that would be the case, but I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, geez. As far as like TV shows and movies and all, the only thing that's been worth a crap in the last month, nothing's coming out. It's dead out there. The one thing that was an absolute home run was the new Game of Thrones prequel, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. If you're not watching that, you should be watching that. It is just like, all right, so Game of Thrones, shit ending, but otherwise pretty solid series. And then when they announced, we're going to do the prequels, get ready, they're going to be awesome. And they came out with that first one where it was the models on dragons, just flittering around and posing and whatnot. And it was awful. I mean, they even got some of the bigger name talent. I think Matt Smith came over to it and all, but it was just crap. I thought it was just disposable. I didn't even finish. Maybe I got to like episode 3 or so and then just bailed. However, this new one is 100% certified no woke. It's almost like they said, guys, we need to make something here people will actually watch or we're fucking bankrupt.
Yeah.
So they did. It is sex and violence and rock and roll. It's kind of like when you watch that first season of Game of Thrones and you get done and you're like, what the fuck was that? And there's bodies flying from towers, brothers and sisters hooking up, midgets, fire, dragons, it's like just a one catch-all, right? So I got to tell you, this Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's the same thing. It's just the violence and brutality and the wars and the backstabbing and infighting between the families and all, and it's just damn good. And some of the things that they always talk about, like they reference, older events in Game of Thrones, and then these are the people. So it's done to the standard that the Game of Thrones once represented. So I think that's a lot of things. It's probably the writers being kind of free for the tyranny of non-delivering authors. It's, deciding that not going out of business is more important than woke messaging. Mm. So a lot of things came together, and they actually just made a TV show that's entertaining. How about that? So
is
maybe
this
they'll prove
one
to others that it can be done.
Is this one based on books that are already finished?
Not a clue. And that's the great thing is I don't know. I don't care. So that was good. So Hardware Flashback, I talked about a couple good projects. Just generally speaking, I had this AT-AT that Azov decided was a threat and had to be wrestled to the ground, so he took it off the fridge. And it just broke a clip that holds one of the legs on. So I went to just design that and print it real quick. And I thought, well, you know what? It's got all these decals that are kind of, mangy and, it's got some dust and just been sitting there. So I gave it like a 3-day soak in hot dishwater and got all the old glue and decals off and everything and cleaned it up and put in some LEDs for like clearance and cabin lighting and all that. And it came out, I think, really, really good. Stuck it back up where it came from, and it's just a nice happy accident to do a little restoration. I talked about all this in detail in Hardware Flashback, but some of the harder to find parts for an Androbot I finally found. And I've been working on a laptop. I'll show you guys, since we're on camera, what I was talking about in Hardware Flashback. So this laptop was built right on the crossover period between, if you think about the early laptops and the early portables and all, they were done using like almost a full-size motherboard, maybe a full-size floppy drive, full-size hard drive. They were not yet miniaturizing these things. So this is the inside of the laptop. So the motherboard's over there on one side. This thing under here, that would be a full-size 3.5-inch floppy. the hard drive would sit right there. So what I did is we use these GoTechs, and unfortunately they're all installed in things, but they're physically the size of a 3.5-inch floppy, and they're meant to replace them. And then you basically stick a USB stick in the front, and then it talks to the floppy bus, so you can store images of floppy disks on a USB stick. And then it's got a little screen on the front, and you just rotate through the available images, press the button, it loads that image, and it pretends to be that floppy. So you could do like whole DOS or Windows installs from floppy disks using the images. You can make empty images and save things to it. It's really quite versatile. But these originally came out back in about 15, 20 years ago when they were using floppy drives still for CNC machines and sewing machines and stuff like that. So anyway, this is what the board looks like on my adapter. So that relocates things. So if you think about it, this is the LED. So it puts the LED behind. I'll show you the bezel. So the original floppy was a mechanism with no front panel. The front panel is built into the case of the laptop, right? So as it turns out, that eject port just happens to line up, happens to be only 10% bigger than the standard modern USB. It was unbelievable to match. This area here happens to be about the size of that LCD. So what I did is I sketched up and created this adapter so that you've got USB here. That's where and I used a little tiny SanDisk. So it actually looks like an eject button sticking out of the port. That's the LCD, the LED, and this is the knob for the encoder, right? So this one is still taken apart. I'm going through, I'm putting GoTechs in all my 1110 HDs. So now, when you look at the side of it, there's your monitor, there's a little screen. So your USB stick with the floppy images goes there. And you basically tap this encoder. That's rotary. So you tap it, and then the menu comes up. You turn it until you get the image you want. And then you press it again, and it loads that image. And then you just turn the laptop back around, and you go and do whatever you're going to do, right?
Big shout out for GoTex. They're the shit. The Computer Museum has them in all sorts, for everything from the Amiga to we've got an Apple II running off on it, boot straight to it. They're brilliant.
I've got like 3 here within my line of sight. They are, and it kind of you almost don't need a hard drive, especially on older and like DOS class machines, because if you got the floppy images, you kind of got everything. But if your machine has a hard drive, this is a great pairing with it. It's a quick way to get data on and off the machine. And then the other thing I'm doing, sorry guys, my throat went to shit here. All right. This little gem here is a Wi-Fi 232. So what it is it's a I'm gonna kill that light in a minute. It's washing this out. But anyway, that little screen there shows you basically where it's connected to and what it's doing, and then that is a DB25 connector. So the way this works is this hooks up to a serial port. So my main BBS machine, my 1000HX, this hooks up to the serial port, so it joins your Wi-Fi in your home network, and then it emulates a standard Hayes modem out the other end. So whenever you type in like AT commands, like in Hayes modem commands, you would type ATDT. AT is attention. That means this is a modem command. DT would be dial tone, and then the string, right? So you would type like ATDT 540-222-55555, right? And then that would dial that number. The modem would do that. So the way the emulator works is you type in like ATDT space particlesbbs.dyn.org, and then it sends that string to the emulator. The emulator says, okay, it establishes a connection over the internet, and then from your terminal's point of view, as far as the PC is concerned, it's just using a modem and talking to a PC as if it were 1985. but in reality, it's a bridge over the internet. So I'm going to have with this particular laptop, it's going to be a modern LiPo battery pack, this Wi-Fi modem, the hard drive now is a solid state SD, and then a floppy drive emulator. So it'll be a nice little tight, concise package that boots up, and I can run terminal software, and that'll be a nice little laptop from the recliner BBS machine. So as I said in the hardware flashback, we're starting to see the LCD screens are starting to age out. So a lot of devices from the 80s, the 90s that had LCD screens are starting to reach that 30, 40, 50-year timeout. I don't think we'll see 100-year-old LCDs that are still working. So, yeah, I'll probably have it all pimped out just in time for the LCDs to start dying. That's that. But no, that's kind of what I've been up to, and just that and sorting Legos. And but no, that's it.
Guess I'll jump in. So I had another long weekend in Scotland. Not doing anything, well, not in the wilderness, but kind of off the grid. Took over a castle and a nearby big manor house both on the sort of beachfront, and had one of our little pop-up nightclub situations going on. And on the Sunday, sort of as everyone was winding down, I thought I'd set up a SNES Mini and a projector in the big living room, and was watching normal people. These are all nerds. A lot of them are play more games than I do these days. And yet they are all fucking terrible at Super Nintendo games. I never really thought that Super Mario World was so fucking hard, but Jesus Christ, it took them a long time to get off that first 5 levels. So for a bit of fun,
So you went out for the weekend. Did your wife tell you, "Have fun storming the castle, boys"?
Not quite, but yeah. So I thought for a bit of fun, I'd try and do a party trick I was working on a couple of years ago, which was doing the 11 exit Super Mario World speedruns. And so I thought I'll try and do this before dinner's served. Failed miserably because I couldn't remember a bunch of tricks, especially when it got to sort of the later levels. Ended up basically one level away from Bowser's Castle. Which wasn't too bad, I suppose. It's a lot better than all of them. And they were suitably impressed. But when I came back, I was like, right, I need to practice that some more and get cracking on it. So that's been a bit interesting because I've sort of finding devices to sort of practice on and stuff kicking around, and that I'm not playing on other things on, and ended up a mixture of the Analog Pocket and then the SNES Mini, and the generally I don't really care about the different, the latency difference between software emulation and this device versus that device, or this screen size versus that screen size, but when you're actually trying to do ridiculous precision stuff like that, it makes such a big difference. It's bonkers. But yeah, I managed to record a run last weekend of the full run through, which I don't think I'd ever sort of bothered to manage to do in one go when I was doing it before, and that was about 17 minutes with a ton of mistakes, so not the best, but still reasonable, I guess. But my aim is to try and get that down to around 13 minutes if I can. So that'll probably take me the better part of 5 years or something to lose four minutes. And then retro gaming wise, other than that, I finished Final Fantasy 9 early this month, and then started on there was a game called Infinity, which was an RPG that was being developed at the end of the Game Boy Color life cycle, but it was so late that they basically cancelled it. A few years ago, they put the developers put the sort of the source code, almost as it were, on GitHub, sort of unfinished, and people could sort of play it and but obviously unfinished. It wasn't fully working, but there was a lot of people liked what they'd done, so they ended up doing a Kickstarter to actually finish the game. And the digital versions of that went out around, it was just before Christmas. So I've had it on sort of the back burner and started that, and yeah, really quite impressed with it. It's got some great production values, better possibly than like Zelda on the Game Boy in terms of like overall polish and things. Really impressive for a small sort of team. About 8 hours in, and the story's, it's better than the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest or the first Mana game that was on the Game Boy, and probably a lot of other Game Boy RPGs, because you've just not got the space to do anything meaningful, or the screen resolution and animation to sort of convey emotions and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely up there, pretty good. Don't know whether I think the shipping is quite expensive on physical carts, so I don't think I'd have been bothered about a physical cart, but yeah, it's got the digital access anyway, so that's cool. Modern gaming wise, I finished Clair Obscur that I'd mentioned I'd started last month, and so I went back to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and today I've got to the point of no return on that, so just having to think of what's short that I can fill out next month before the PC version of Death Stranding 2 lands, and I'm going to sort of try and jump straight into that.
You're gonna love that, man.
Oh yeah,
It's everything
can't
about
wait.
the original plus more.
I sent you an email, Random. I think someone sent us a code for a game. I didn't look
You
any
did.
further than that. I did it on my phone as I was out today, so I just
Yeah.
sent it on.
I very briefly looked at it before we started, but not in detail. But yeah,
Simon mentioned
that
a game.
looks from.
Go on.
Oh, go on.
I'm just looking for it. Sorry,
was
Simon
gonna say,
mentioned
it
a
looks
game in
kind of-
Dinosaur Pie. Is it called Replaced or something like that? Indie platformer. Looks really, really good.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I think
is
it's
it
called
Repl- yeah,
Replaced.
something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was on my wish list.
I know the one you
Maybe
mean.
not. Yeah.
So yeah, that was going. Watching stuff. We just went through a random spate of watching a load of Dave Bautista films, and then somewhat redeemed ourselves by watching The Whole Nine Yards the other weekend. But not had a great deal of time. But we did watch last year's Robin Hood series with Sean Bean in it. And that it took a bit of time to sort of lay a lot of the backstory of Robin Hood, which was kind of like I wasn't expecting, because you kind of expect them to just be like, oh, you know who Robin Hood is, so here you go, here's him starting off and having his fun. But they kind of they flesh out his motivations for why he became what he did, and then it really sort of picks up in pace from there. It's pretty good. And book-wise, started and I've nearly finished the Jacked, which I got for Christmas, which is the GTA story by David Kushner, who did Masters of Doom. Bit disappointed on how sort of light it was on sort of development details, that especially sort of coming off Masters of Doom, that's sort of very heavy on that sort of side, and the interplay between the dev teams, and it's kind of focused more around like PR strategies, and how that was all sort of interacting at the time with politics and Jack Thompson, and the whole sort of Columbine murders and things like that. So yeah, and it's kind of, it feels like it needs a bit more time to breathe, perhaps, because it kind of tries to cover the very first DMA design, GTA 1, the early demo prototypes of that, and sort of how they were nothing like what GTA became, but then sort of rushes very quickly through to San Andreas with the hot coffee controversy and things like that, and it doesn't really have time to sort of, you sort of spend quite a bit of time on the original GTA, and then suddenly you like it almost name drops 2, 3, and Vice City, and there's not sort of a bit light on details. You're like, all of a sudden it's like talking about, oh well, that's been out for 3 months and has already sold 8 million. You're like, wait a minute, we barely sort of talked about any of its development plan or anything. So yeah, but I mean, I think to be fair, the development was a bit like that on the ground, where you were in basically crunch for about 10 years solid on those titles. So yeah, kind of interesting, but yeah, definitely not as good as Masters of Doom. So and that is about it, really. Marco.
Yeah, we're in the middle of volleyball season for my daughter. It started in January. Tournament started in January, so it's like every other weekend it feels like I'm going somewhere. She went with her mom to Boston this weekend, so I got the weekend off. But I've been playing a lot of league volleyball myself. I'm in a league team and kind of out there having fun, meeting a lot of people. My glutes are absolutely fucking wrecked right now. So I feel like an old 80-year-old man from playing last night. We went to Kansas City 2 weeks ago. I really didn't love Kansas City. I've been vegetarian. I've gone back to vegetarian because I got a annual physical coming up, so I'm trying to get my cholesterol down before my physical. So I've been hungry and angry because I've been vegetarian. But while we were in Kansas City, I was like, you know what? When in Rome, I've heard so much good stuff about Kansas City barbecue. We went to something called Gate, which is kind of like a legendary, I guess, like place you're supposed to go for this barbecue, and it was absolutely disgusting. Hella disappointing. They have like weird sauce that they put over everything. I did it up. I mean, I did the brisket, the ribs, pulled pork. I mean, we tried a little bit of everything, and it was disgusting. I live in North Carolina. I'm a North Carolina barbecue guy. People get real serious about different types of barbecue and from the different regions and everything. I do like some Texas barbecue as well, but I am definitely a Eastern North Carolina is my favorite style. While I'm on these tournaments, there's a lot of downtime in between matches, so I've been living on that Ambernick quite a bit. I beat Aria of Sorrow. I had never played through that before, so I was looking for something. Now I gotta see if I gotta put different ROMs on my Ambernick, or maybe mine isn't capable of running it. But it came with some stuff on it, and for whatever reason I can't get Symphony and Night to play. So maybe I just need to put my own ROM on there and see if it'll run it. But yeah, the system that it came with, it's just not working. So played the next best thing, which was Aria Sorrow.
On mine, depends on your firmware, but on mine I can change which emulator it uses, which core or whatever it uses. So maybe it's something as simple as that.
Yeah, maybe I'll pull it out and do like a screen time with one of you guys at some point, see if you can help me out with it. But yeah, man, it was a fun game. Totally unsatisfying ending. I didn't realize how much farming goes into that game, just trying to farm to get like the different souls and stuff like that at first. Probably could have beat it a lot sooner than I really needed to, but I mean, I think I uncovered like damn near 98% of the map. So I put a lot of time into it. I also enjoyed playing Elevator Action Returns on there. I don't know if you guys have ever played that one, but I think it was like a late 90s or mid 90s arcade game that they made for Elevator Action, and it follows kind of the same formula as the original, but you're not just going up and down in a building. There is some kind of lateral movement and stuff as well. It does get a bit repetitive, but if you like Elevator Action, it's definitely one that I'd recommend checking out. Yeah, I think just kind of like everybody else here, did the whole Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I really enjoyed it, and I like House of the Dragon that you don't, Scott. I do very much enjoy that. Probably not appropriate, but I did watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms with my 14-year-old. She really enjoyed it, and then she was like, I want to see this Game of Thrones stuff. So She's been going through. I mean, she's been like binging it, and usually, I mean, the kids see all this shit, right? So, I mean, whenever it gets to like some of the harder nudity stuff, we kind of skip forward a bit. Um, yeah, probably shouldn't be watching it with an eighth grader, but she loves it. um, I did watch Fallout. That was pretty satisfying. It was good. I went ahead and fired up Fallout 4. Put that back on the PC, and man, it just I don't know, what was that, maybe 10 years ago or something, but it just feels like it hasn't aged great. I don't know. We're just kind of like getting to Diamond City, and I don't know if I'll stick with it. Um, but what? Yeah, Starfield I think ended up being more fun recently for me, but I did watch a couple episodes of Thundar the Barbarian. Do you guys remember that cartoon?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I kind of vaguely remember it from when I was a kid. I think it came out in the late 60s, and I think they repeated it again in like the mid 80s or something like that. I watched a couple episodes of that, and it was like, you realize like, man, they didn't have a whole lot going on. Like they kept recycling the same. Like I watched one where he was fighting these dinosaur people, and they kept kind of like replaying the same clips of them over and over again. Yeah, whatever. I have a buddy that's a serial dater. We first met when my oldest was in private in-home daycare, and his daughter was a year older. My daughter just started going there, like 2 months old or something. We met there, and I want to say we both split up with our significant others at the same time. So probably when my daughter was about 2, my oldest, and we've been friends ever since. So we've been friends for nearly 20 years or something like that. And this is one of those guys that he cannot stand to be single. You guys have any friends like that like they just can't be single?
Well, I know some friends
I used to have
that
a
can be
brother
single
like that.
yeah. I got a lot of friends that could be single in about 5 minutes and have another one about 5 minutes after that and be pretty content. So
Yeah, that's how this guy is, and he's always like falling in love and shit like that. And when
I didn't say we're falling in love. I just said they had a different girl every 5
yeah,
minutes.
well,
Let's not get crazy.
I remember, and like when we both broke up with our baby's mamas back in the day, I was like, hey, we'd go out, do a little date, like we could be wingmans and shit, and like meet some different ladies. And man, it was like within 2 weeks, he's like, I met this girl at the bar. We're going to Charleston on like a horse ride. Charleston's kind of a historic city, it kind of has that old like Southern charm to it. He'd been dating this girl maybe a couple weeks, and he came back and he's like, when you know, I put a rock on it.
Oh,
and he,
fuck.
yeah, got married. That didn't last real long. Had another girlfriend, then another girlfriend, and then another one. Like he serial dates girls for like a year and a half or something. He's in love. It's the next one, and then So anyway, I can't keep it straight. And he's approaching 50, and he's always with these like leathery, like washed up women from Florida and shit. That and he's like always wants us to go out and meet them, and then he's like putting his hands down their pants and shit in like public places and shit. It's just kind of like it's weird.
Napoleon. That's his move. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know the type.
and he always, it seems like every like 6 to 18 months there's another one, and he's like, oh, I want to like show you off, you're one of my friends, like show this new girl to you or whatever, and it's weird. He's dated several women that have twins. It's just bizarre. But he was like, hey, let's go to Dave and Buster's. Now the last 4 times I've been to Dave and Buster's have been with him to go like meet some woman. And it's like, it's kind of weird. Like you guys know what Dave and Buster's is?
Yeah.
It's just it's
Yeah.
it's a barcade, but it's mostly redemption shit. I would say it's kind of like a place that you take families and let the kids win some prizes and shit like that. And it has like, it's like an upscale Chuck E. Cheese. Well,
Chuck E.
we,
Cheese
we
for
go,
hookers.
Yeah. We went to Dave and Buster's, and there's a really cool game there right now called Cyberpunk Turf Wars. Have you guys seen this game?
No.
No.
It's a sit down game, and it has machine guns, and they shoot like little plastic marbles. So there's like a depth of field, and then there's like digital screens, and like when you're shooting stuff on screen, like instead of just like a regular laser gun with a light gun or something, it's actually shooting pellets. So there's like recoil and feedback and shit to it. So it's really fun. I would highly recommend, like, if you're going to one of these like big loud dumb kind of like barcade things, and you can find one of those things. It was the first time I've played something that had like that kind of tactile feedback in a way. It just kind of reminded me of some of these like throwback arcade games and shit like that.
So do
that
the
one was-
pellets when the pellet? I assume the pellets hit the screen. When they do, is that how it knows where you're aiming, or has it got like a light gun as well? Or
Yeah, I think it's the pellets, and they're bouncing all over the place and shit, and it just sounds like shells hitting the floor, and like it's really cool. It's
There's any number of ways you could do that. You could have a camera. You could have like a capacitive touch screen, so every time the bullet hits, it's like a finger touch.
Yeah.
Any number of ways you could do that. But yeah, I last time I was in a Dave and Buster's was like legit 25 years ago. And so I guess my memory of Dave and Buster's is now 25 years old. And if I had thought about it, I was there somewhat recently. Well, that's a quarter of a century.
yeah.
yeah,
But then my daughter had a tournament, and there was a nearby barcade, and like every tournament, one of the parents has to kind of like host an event, and of course, what am I going to do? I'm going to pick the fucking pinball, like sleazy, like somewhat like crunchy place to go. Like, the other parents, they're like, let's make hair clips together with like hot glue and shit. And I'm like, let's go to the fucking pinball place. And the girls loved it. I finally got a chance to sit down and play the Dungeons and Dragons Tyrant's Eye. It was pretty good. It's a newer Stern. I think it came out last year. I hadn't played it yet. Has a big ass dragon, big ass like Tiamat kind of thing on it. Eye of the Beholder has like Tiny's Tavern, some other shit. I was happy to see it because I'm definitely a Dungeons and Dragons fan. I'm getting a little burned out on some of these newer Sterns though. I don't know. It just didn't really grab me. If you see it out there, play it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to play the Dungeons and Dragons yet.
no.
But yeah, I don't know. There's something getting a little burned out with some of these Sterns. They all kind of starting to feel similar in a way. Yeah, but that was it. Doing some little pistol builds and doing some shooting and stuff like that, and gonna try to ice my glutes after the show because they are on fire, cooked.
All right, let's do some news. I know Scott is going to work shortly, so we can fire off some news items over the next hour or so. Been chatting for quite a while. I was talking to Adi about this part of news as well. He was saying it. I should get Paula to listen to it because sometimes she's mentioned. It's his favourite part of the show, and some others as well. And that reminds me, Per Holmstrom, I emailed you and you haven't replied. So I replied to an email you sent, I think. So maybe you don't use that address anymore. But drop me an email. I need to speak with you. I need you to say, hey. No, I need to talk to you. Anyway, let's hit some news. I will leave the comic book ones for someone who knows about comic books. So we got some old ones from a couple of months ago. A lot of Gareth Hamer, a lot of Peter Gibbs with his amusing email titles. Some of me, some Dave Lanke, and yeah, let's get into it.
I'll do the comic one real quick. It's a top 10 comic books ever sold. This is from December, and actually there's an auction that's going on this weekend. It started yesterday. Friday was the first day of it, and Detective Comics 27, which is the first Batman, I think a 7.0 sold for 2.3 million, so that would have made this list. But I'll just run through this real quick. All-Star Comics number 8 sold for 1.6 million. They got a Detective Comics 27 in here. That's the first Batman, sold for 1.8 for 6.5, and like I said, that 7.0 copy just sold this weekend for 2.3. Tales of Suspense 39, first Iron Man, $2 million. Number 7, Fantastic Four number 1 sold for 2,040,000. 9.6. I imagine that would go up quite a bit. There's a Batman number 1 sold for 2.2 million, January 21. Marvel Comics number 1, which is the first appearance of the Human Torch and Submariner, that sold for $2.4 million, 22. Very rare comic from 1939. Captain America number 1 sold for 3.1 million. Has some good Captain America smashing Nazi face on the front. Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the first appearance of Spider-Man, copy of that in 21 sold for 3.6 million. That book is a little, there's it's a Silver Age book. There are quite a few copies of Amazing Fantasy out there. There's been some pretty big fluctuations in that recently. There's an Action Comics number 1 that sold for $6 million in 24. That was an 8.5. I believe that's the highest copy of that. And Superman number 1 has the title right now, and that copy sold for a stunning $9.12 million. So if you happen to find a copy of that laying around, it's 39. Superman's going to be 100 sooner than later. It's going to be kind of crazy. There you go.
Just while we're on collecting, there's some new Magic the Gathering sets come out. I know we talked about it before. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed. I'm not a fan of that IP, but every so often they'll bring out like a Universes Beyond, they call it, set. So it might be like Fallout themed, Assassin's Creed. They've done Lord of the Rings, Doctor Who. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just dropped, and those will increase in value. There'll be 4 Commander decks, they're called. If you just pick up one of those, stick it on a shelf, it will increase. So the Lord of the Rings came out maybe 3-4 years ago, and when they launched, they're like 50 quid a deck, 45, 50 quid a deck. Lord of the Rings now close to 200. I've been looking to pick one up, and they're close to 200. So
I mean, if you bought, say, 10,000 pounds worth of these things, and then started doling them out, you could stand to make 20K off of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you start a retro gaming magazine, keep hold of half of the issues in your garage, wait until they become like rare and like no one can hard to find, and then slowly leak them out online.
So
on your own
all the
auction
others have been
site.
pulped.
I may go to Heroes Con this summer if we're not a volleyball tournament. And when I went to San Diego Comic-Con, I thought about taking it with me, but didn't want to risk going to California. I do have a couple copies of Retro number 1. CGC does grade magazines now, so I would like to go to Heroes Con, take my copy of Retro number 1, sign the cover, and have them certify my own signature on it, and then have the only signed and numbered copy of Retro number 1 would be kind of cool.
Afterglow podcasting chat says he picked up some of the Final Fantasy Magic cards recently. They've gone crazy. They're increasing in value, as you might expect.
There's some Spider-Man ones I saw.
They're sort of limited sets, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like a full set.
So I just
I sent a Final Fantasy deck to my mate.
Say that again.
I was saying, I sent a Final Fantasy deck to my mate when they came out, because he's a big Final Fantasy fan, more than he's interested in Magic, and I just thought he might like to look at them at if nothing else. But then, obviously, they're going to end up rising in value.
Yeah, I know Post Malone is a big fan of the game. I think he's paid the most ever for a Magic card, which is something like, I think it's about $2.5 million he paid for one card. Just
fucking
stupid crazy, yeah.
Well, maybe this thing doesn't make you smart.
The thing is though, I watch a lot of YouTube anymore. I've kind of quit watching TV for the most part. And I saw some guy, it was some collectible dude, and he had like all these sports cards. And he had like a set, and I want to say it was like $180,000 worth of like Michael Jordan rookie cards and like Tom Brady and shit like that, like well-known American sports athletes. And like OJ Simpson rookie card and some different football players, NFL players. And he sold the whole thing. He cashed it in for his $180,000 and he said, I'm going all in on One Piece. And it was like, the guy was like a 55-year-old black guy. And he's like, I think One Piece is going to be the new hot shit. And I'm just like, I'm going all in. I'm going to get all the rare One Piece stuff. And he was explaining how like One Piece has been around for 25 years and like globally it's more recognizable than all this other shit. And he had this like whole breakdown on why like One Piece is going to blow up and why people should invest in it and shit. Seems fucking crazy to me. I was talking to my daughter who's in 8th grade and I was like, yeah, like what is this One Piece stuff that I just heard about? This dude's cashing in like 180 grand to invest in One Piece. And she's like, Dad, everybody in my school that wears those like silk like dye sublimated like printed shirts that's like the whole fucking t-shirt, she's like, they're all these like weirdo people that watch One Piece and shit. She's like, no, do not buy One Piece.
I've never heard of it.
Never heard of such a thing.
One Piece.
Look,
That's great.
Back in the say the mid '80s, sports ball card collecting was a massive thing. I mean, it's funny in the book more even than the movie in 8-Bit Christmas. They really went into what a big thing sports card collecting was. And, not even being a sports ball person myself, I can certainly say I absolutely remember all that being incredibly huge. There were, sports card trading shops. I remember the Beckett's Price Guide. I mean, people would just, and then there was a moment, though, and nobody knows exactly when that moment's going to be, that it jumps the shark. And what you end up with is, like, I remember, like, late 80s, walking into Walmart, and there would be pallets of sports cards, right? And people were just buying these things like normally you bought like packs, like I remember the economics of it, the economy of sports ball cards. In the early 80s was you spent 35 cents on a pack, took it apart, they'd look at all the cards and go, okay, I got a $3 card, a $2 card, this is worth nothing. Then they take that $2 card, go up to the counter, and then the person that ran the sports thing will be like, oh, I'll give you 85 cents for it. But it's $2. I'll give you 85 cents. That lets you buy 2 more packs. Then they take the 85 cents, buy, 72 cents worth of packs, open up those packs, and kids were building little Gordon, as they said, snot-nosed Gordon Gecko empires based on this trading card thing. Then one day, they had pallets of them, and people bought up, like, hordes of them. Some people today still have all these, like not one pack, but like the whole box, just these giant collections of sports ball cards, and they're all essentially worthless. Like worthless. Yeah. So, who knows? That's why I only buy things that I give a shit about. Yeah. I have never bought anything for speculation of value. No. I don't know if that's the right formula, but it works for me. Yeah. So, got one here from Gareth Hamer, just a short little article. It says the most durable tech is boring, old, and everywhere. And they kind of go more into like SQL, Linux, and things like that have been around for a long time and will continue to be. But the one below that I thought was pretty interesting was
before you go on,
Hamer.
So before you go on that
I'll be the judge of that. Go ahead.
The durable tech thing. So they mention in there, like paraphrasing, it's like, COBOL is in all the banking stuff and isn't as sexy as the latest AI programs. But then recently there was a news story come out that some of the AIs are now writing, better COBOL than the majority of people. And that was always like this very niche, as it's carried on, there's very few people still with the COBOL knowledge, still getting the jobs that basically keep banking around, and we're at risk of basically them just getting sidelined and then just trusting the AI to just keep it all running, which could be interesting. So we'll see where that goes.
I wonder how much that stuff's truly in use, because when you think about it, they say, oh, our systems are running on COBOL or whatever. You don't actually have IBM 360s from 1974 running COBOL with an adapter cable hooked. It couldn't possibly do the throughput, the volume, it can't be scaled to that. So I don't know if they're still using some of this code that's been, encapsulated in emulator. It's a black box for certain things. At some point, that black box ages out, and you're like, oh, we got to go a different direction. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how true any of that is anymore. That there's these big blocks of old code running. Certainly not on original hardware. Just not a thing. But anyway, the one here from Gareth Hamer. So I made a fully integrated disk drive add-on for the PlayStation Classic, and he did, and it looks pretty cool. It's what I can't quite figure out is there's a lot of software to it. I'm not an expert on that. Those early PS1s. I don't know where his mods begin, and the software integration, but it looked like it was a hell of a lot of work to get that done.
Yeah. A couple from Gareth Hamer. One, I found the ultimate way to play retro games in your browser, and it's free. That is at nostalgist.js. You can try it yourself. And another one from Gareth, the Stadia Bluetooth upgrade deadline looms. So the Stadia controllers initially only worked on Wi-Fi, but when Stadia got killed by Google, they put up a web page, you access it in Chrome, it'll take you through, plug in your controller in, and flash in the firmware, so you can use it as a regular Bluetooth controller. And they are great controllers, I love them. I've got about 6 of them around this place. The deadline to do that is looming, but somebody, predictably and thankfully, has created a new unofficial page for doing the same thing. So you've still got time to flash your Stadia controllers.
Another piece of semi-modern tech, but still up our alley, is Peter Gibb sent this in. The PS5 has lost its keys. Lost its keys.
PS5, it's lost its keys. PS5, it's lost its keys.
Well, so for listeners who are newer to this, we were in, I don't know, it was Wolverhampton, Blackpool,
Wolverhampton
Trafford
at the race
Expo.
course.
I don't fucking recall. We were somewhere. And Mike James was certain that he had lost the keys to his car and his house and everything. And we all did a mad tearing apart of the booth. We had people climbing through the dumpsters outside looking for his keys. Finally, the plan was that UK Neil would get in his BMW, drive the hour and a half to the south, pick up the other keys, come back, and we would all return. Well, finally we found the keys. Look, they were in the backpack the whole time. Silly me.
Oh, they're in this zip pocket that I forgot I had.
Oh, look at this. It reminded me of the whole thing from, was it History of the World, where he's like, oh, sure, pardon. There's going to be a pardon here in the king's desk. Excuse me, you rough guy. No pardon in the king's desk. But, yeah, so anyway, the PS5 faces an unfixable vulnerability. Good words to hear. I always like how some of these are written from the opposite perspective. Like, here's how it reads. Sony faces an unfixable PS5 vulnerability as boot ROM keys are dumped and shared publicly. A leaked set of PS5 boot ROM keys published online at the end of 2025 exposed core-level security secrets researchers say Sony cannot simply patch. While the breach does not enable immediate jailbreak, experts warn it significantly lowers the bar for future exploits, potentially paving the way for permanent hack, homebrew software, and widespread piracy risks. Okay, why not just write it? Gamers rejoice everywhere that the future of PS5 will be brighter than ever. 20 years from now, you'll be able to load up all your games on a hard drive and play everything just like you can with everything else. Just fucking for once, word this like, if you're a journalist, word this like everybody reading it interprets it, not like you're a corporate shill in Sony's headquarters.
One here from both Peter Gibbs and Gareth Hamer. Capcom fixing a typo in Street Fighter 2, the World Warrior. They spelt warrior with an E towards the end. And so they fixed it by moving some letters over from the word world, but then they needed a dot over the I. So they used Guile's leg, 1 pixel of Guile's leg sprite, to create that dot. So he had a weird leg with a dot. The article explains it in more detail than I just have, but you get the gist.
I got a good one here that Gareth Hamer sent in, and it's 5 of the strangest patents owned by Nintendo. Now, Nintendo, I mean, they make a lot of tech that just never gets fully utilized. They certainly patent a lot of things, maybe just a patent troll later. But here's a couple of their patents that people laid out. A sleep tracker and projector. So I guess it would follow where you're not looking at while you're asleep and then project information onto the ceiling. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I need to use that a lot when I'm asleep. Mm-hmm. There's a Switch Joy-Con with a hinge in the middle of it. Now that's kind of interesting because if you could actually slip those two together, I'm surprised when they did the Switch Joy-Cons that they did them with, you slip one on each side and, play, but they can't join together unless you have that middle piece. Mm. I'm kind of surprised they didn't make it like male-female so they could actually join together and make a controller. But in this patent, they have it so that it about the top third bends over, and then you've got this sort of a bent controller. I mean, I could see a use case for that, but I don't know if it was worth the cost. Here, this next one, electronic trading cards. Well, this is basically it's just a like an RFID inside of a card, right? So it's just the amiibo. Only you can tell Nintendo intended maybe to do trading cards, not just plastic amiibos. This one's the greatest one. A horseback riding device. So it looks like a
super creepy looking.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of things. But let's just say it looks like one of those exercise cushions that you sit on. And then I guess you would ride horses in it.
You remember when Howard Stern used to be cool like 20 years ago? When
30 years ago.
He used to have like strippers and stuff come in and like ride a Symbian kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, sure do.
Well, speaking of riding and driving, got one.
The last one here. I won't say the last one of this is the Nintendo Game Boy phone case. Now, there was a number of these things out there, especially early, like in the days of, like, I think the iPhone 1 and maybe the iPhone 3G. They would have these cases your iPhone would slip into, and it would give you buttons and a joystick. None of it worked for shit. But, it looks like Nintendo did a patent for a cell phone case and that back then when you had 2 smartphones on the market, that was an achievable goal. Nowadays, not so much. So, interesting Nintendo options there.
So speaking of phones, just before we move on, so big thing in the UK at the moment is maybe banning mobile phones from being used in school by kids. So lots of companies are selling these like they're basically a pouch, like a pencil case sort of thing, and you put your phone in it. It's got a magnetic lock and it's a Faraday cage. So you can't get to your phone and it doesn't get signal. But they're magnetically operated. So what schools are doing is putting a big magnet on the gate where the kids come in. So the kid comes to school, walks up to the gate, drops the phone in the pouch, locks it magnetically. Then at the end of the day, they're walking out, they tap the pouch on the magnet again, it unlocks the bag, they take the phone out and go home. But what's happening in some of these schools, people are going in supermarkets, stealing clothes, and they have the magnetic tags on them, just randomly on the garment somewhere. So they're going up to these magnets on school gates and taking the tabs off these clothes and just dropping them on the floor. So there's all these tabs around school gates at the moment. People have been nicking clothes.
Everyone's just using it to steal clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever seen, like, in stores, they will have, like, those various... Sometimes it's like a mechanical key that matches a complex pattern.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's just a magnet, and that pulls back a pin. And allows it to fall out of the pin to fall out of place, and then they can. Yeah, but that's kind of interesting.
Yonder pouches, if you want to look at what they are. YONDR. I'd look to see if they were publicly listed. I was going to buy shares in them, but they're not. It's a private company, but there will be other companies you can buy shares in, because pretty much every UK school and college is going to end up buying these things. One here from Peter Gibbs.
I got one from,
go on.
Yeah, let me do that one. I got one from Peter Gibbs, and he says, "You know what they say about the size of a guy's outrun," and this is from the CES show that was just last month. The end of last month it was published. My Arcade is launching some new Sega machines, so they're doing a little mini outrun. It looks badass. Has a full wheel. Looks like it has up and down. It has like pedals for kind of brake and gas. This looks like something Scott would certainly buy. I don't know if you've seen these, Scott. These little My Arcades. They already have a Sonic the Hedgehog one that's out. You also have looks like a Street Fighter, and I think these are going to retail for about $50. It looks like.
Let's see. I'm trying to have a look here. Yeah, there's been a number of these for decades. Let's see. I got somewhere here.
I knew it.
Let's see. There's there's this size range that came out. So by comparison, the little mini micro ones, the keychain ones, are about that big. So yeah, there's been a number of these series over the years. I bought a few here and there.
I think I've got a Tetris, and I think I've got a Frogger as well somewhere.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, they're a novelty. What are you going to do with them?
Well, play Tetris or Frogger.
You are doing exactly that, sir.
And I think that's the series that came with a pin you could short out, and they each had 2 games. So you could short out the pins, and it gave you the other game, something like that.
So there were and it varied. There were on I can't remember. Oh, I think it was the I used to know this by memory because I have them up here. Like on this little thing here, there was a PCB, and what they did is they made one board that had like 2 different ROM combinations. So if you when they made it, if they had the trace, it was Miss Pac-Man. If they cut the trace, it was Galaga. So by putting a switch on that trace, it could boot up in either mode. Or some of them you could just bridge it. I can't remember all the specifics.
Yeah.
Because, now I can play Pac-Man and Galaga out of that mini 1-inch screen on that thing. Honestly, I buy those just more for the novelty of them. They're just a cool device. They're not actually a practical device I'm really going to play the game on.
I got a high score. One from Peter Gibbs, the full 360. A collector has taken 20 years to collect all 1,353 Xbox 360 games. The last one he got was Pro Evo Soccer 2018. Cost him about $20,000.
Holy shit.
Now worth about 14, probably.
Stop, we'll give you 4 Funko bobbleheads for that.
Yeah. Another one from Peter, a really good controller. So we remember kind of the analog funky PlayStation controller. This one is a bit more of a normal controller, but the middle of it, kind of where your thumbs might sit, is a steering wheel built into the front of it. So analog steering wheel. Interesting. How practical and useful it is, I'm not sure, but interesting nonetheless.
So yeah, I never did end up playing with the the Negcon was the one that twisted.
The Negcon.
That was actually quite good. Yeah, that was quite good for like PC driving sims and stuff. But there was a Jogcon as well, which had a similar like a jog wheel disc in the middle of it, and it had force feedback on the disc. But I never did manage to get hold of one at a good price and try it.
No, I've not seen.
Looping back to Sega news. I sent one in saying just what we all wanted, and this was the news that a studio called A&R Atelier, which is in California, has some of the developers of the original Echo the Dolphin games. They have announced they are remastering the first two Genesis games, and then they are making a new whole brand new Echo adventure. Yeah, I know we're all clamoring for.
Yeah, it seems an odd one to bring back, really, but
Curious. Well, here's a cool bit of news. The PlayStation 3 back catalog can be played for free, comes with legal warning. And this was submitted by Gareth Hamer. So, long story short, someone has made themselves a PS3 emulator for PC. Now, what's crazy to me, I mean, the PS3, when it came out, was so advanced that they were chaining together clusters of them and using them to model nuclear weapons. And now you can emulate one on a modern PC. And it doesn't seem to me like PC tech has shifted all that much in that time period, but I guess it's been longer than you think. But what I was wondering is this. Windows is becoming more and more aggressively locked down. I think now, Mike, you probably are more of an expert on this than I am by far, but they're using the Rufus. They're blocking access to Rufus, so you can't actually go in and do registered with Microsoft accounts anymore. At least that's their full intention, is they want everybody logging in to Windows that stores all of its information remotely, and you're a registered tracked user. I mean, I think that's pretty fucking clear is what they want to do.
Yeah.
So what's crazy to me, I know Windows still has the install base, but Windows is absolutely on the verge and the full intent, I think, of dictating what you do and don't run on your PC and how you run it. So something like, okay, you're going to make a PS3 emulator. You're going to release it for Windows but not Linux? Who the hell is going to be using Windows that is into this stuff? I mean, wouldn't you release it for Linux and then maybe Windows later? I don't understand other than maybe Windows is easier to develop for still, or it just seems so bizarre. And maybe Random, you have some thoughts on this, but why would you continue to release into an ecosystem that has every intention of not letting you do those things when there's one that's open source?
Market share.
But of a free product?
Yeah, well, yeah, 80. Well, it used to be 85%. I think it's still probably around there. Maybe slipped to 80, but probably not lower than that. But 85% of all computer users run Windows. That's why 85% of viruses are written for Windows. So is it actually, much less secure than everything else? Well, if 85% of people who write viruses were writing them for Mac or Linux, maybe we'd find more holes in them. So it's purely down to market share, I think.
Well, I mean, I get those mechanics. I truly do. But installed base, of course. But, man, I mean, you would think that developers would be more keen on this and would really understand that, hey, Windows does not mean for us to be able to do this stuff in the future. And they're already locking down. Let's get the hell away. I don't know.
A lot of it can come down to just, the developers, they've grown up from school and onwards with Windows, and that's kind of what they know, and they don't really know the other side of it, the other operating systems ins and outs and foibles, and don't want to learn, and they just want to get on.
I've never met a developer, to include you and anybody else. I've never, ever in person met one developer that says to me, I don't know about that there Linux. That's a mystery to me. I'm sticking to Windows land.
I work with tons. If it wasn't for the fact that they're forced to, they wouldn't try to, and like none of them can actually run, use Linux as an operating system and have any clue what's going on about it. There's like basically the architect runs it, at home as his OS, main OS. He knows how it works, so he just basically, made sure everything was cross-compatible. And the others, they're forced to make sure their stuff is still compatible with the Linux builds, but they don't really know anything anything about it and how it works.
Afterglow
And it's gonna be the
Podcast in
same-
chat says, people are tiring of Windows, but they're also scared of change. Which is probably true. I worked
It's
in
the same story with our because we're building on ARM now, because obviously anything you're doing with compute servers, yes, you can get not terribly expensive, 256 core like nodes, but there's a lot of our customers' companies that are then moving over to like the ARM systems with, the sort of 120, 112 core per node, and they're like maybe a tenth of the power, usage, like, actual raw power that's needed to run them, but their compute performance is similar. So
I worked in a school probably 2006. I started there in 2005. So probably 6 or 7, we had a new head of computing department come in, and he said, right, I want the kids to start using Windows, and I want them to learn Linux. So we need all the computers in school to dual boot. So we spent a summer, we spent, the weeks before leading up to summer, prepping it, testing the different builds in school. And then we spent the actual summer dual booting all the computers to Linux. Nobody ever booted it. The following summer, we put them back to single boot Windows.
I used to do that game when there were, unfortunately, and really a lot of it was tied to that the programs to use certain hardware devices like card unloopers and satellite access card modifiers and things like that, that the applications were only written in Windows. So for some years, I had that back and forth of, boot into Windows, do this one thing, go back to Linux, or have a second machine. And I had already walked away from Windows back in 95. That was the last distro I bought and gave a shit about. So every now and then, I'd have to have some laptop with XP just to flash some card or do something with. And it's supremely annoying. And I haven't had to do that in probably 15 years or more. But, yeah, Windows can just die in a fire for all I care.
Afterglow Podcast. I'm a big fan of Linux Mint. I do keep a Windows machine for Launchbox, Easy Drummer, and a few other apps. Yeah, I keep a Windows. I run Windows in the studio. I tried a couple of months ago again to run the computer that does this call on Linux and just getting the sound in and out cleanly with different sound cards. It just seems to fuck it up. I don't get it. And I played about with it, tried different drivers, different sound cards, and it just isn't as good as Windows at doing that job. I don't get it. Because I did want to put the studio fully on Linux. I've got a Mac Mini down there that I might play about with and try that. But the beauty of this PC case, it's running Windows, but I can flip the lid off, swap the hard drive. If it dies mid-recording or whatever, I can just do that. With the Mac Mini, you've got to take it out. Oh, you need torque screws. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it's just not as easy as, a PC to just flip the cover off, swap the hard drive, and carry on recording or whatever. But ideally, I would like the studio PCs off Windows, but yeah, not managed it yet.
So got one here from, can we go back to that page? Peter Gibbs, and it says they make a good case. And these guys, Ace Magic, they're making PC cases for those little, I forget the new form factor. It's not the ITX, whatever, but it's like a Ryzen A1, it's a micro PC motherboard that you could run Windows or preferably Linux on. But yeah, they make a NES theme case and a Dreamcast theme case. Neither of them to me they're themed. They're not like, I don't like the Dreamcast one. I just don't. The NES one I kind of like, but they're definitely not like scale replicas of. They are themes of. But one looks okay, one doesn't.
So a couple here, kind of related. One is who sent it? Who sent it? Who sent it? I clicked off it. Physical media after physical media was ready from Peter Gibbs, and it's an article about Windows Media Player. You know, you remember you used to put a music CD in a Windows computer, and it would run off and download all the ID3 info and your album art and all of that. That has suddenly stopped working, so they've turned a server off somewhere. And related to that, one sent by me, I only sent it a few days ago, I think, why physical media is making a comeback. Now, I've not seen an article on this subject. We've talked about it, you know, ad nauseum. We want physical media. We don't want download. We don't want digital codes and all of that stuff. This is the first time I've really seen an article about it and about the beauty of collecting and owning DVDs. And it even goes into people collecting DVDs ahead of Blu-rays because they just prefer DVD for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get that personally, but it's interesting to see
Culturally,
that
that's the
people are
VHS
writing
tape
articles
of-
like this.
That's the VHS tape of a generation that came in between ours. You know, probably like maybe Mark, somewhat maybe close to your age, maybe a little younger. But that was the DVD was the VHS tape of their day. That's what they're nostalgic for.
I guess so, but with VHS, you had you had a different kind of form factor and a different tactility with it. But if you're going from one 10
Tactility.
centimeter
Woo, write that down,
polycarbonate
guys.
disc
Good
to a different 10 centimeter polycarbonate
That's
disc,
what
you might
worldview.
as well go for the one with the better quality.
Yeah, that's my worldview. But I'll say this: I have, independently of what we're mentioning here, for the last year or two, I have definitely seen like little articles here and there, people commenting about, oh yeah, DVDs are coming back, physical media is a thing, and I look around and I don't see a lot of evidence of that, but I do see a lot of articles saying that. So, I don't know. I mean, I've moved past it all. I'm just, just throw it all on a server and plex it out. So
Yeah.
I don't have that zen for physical. The only physical media I have a zen for is, actual like LPs and 8-tracks and things specifically
Yeah.
for the physical format.
Speaking of which, I
Yeah.
saw an article.
Stuff, nah.
I saw an article. It was yesterday or today about a local store for local people. It was a vinyl store, and when they opened, people were saying, "Oh, you'll be gone in a year. You're not. Why are you opening a vinyl store?" They're moving to bigger premises, or currently looking for bigger premises. It's just taken off. People are getting back into vinyl.
Well, I agree a bit that people do want physical media, but beyond that, maybe a sidestep of some of this is like they just want to have their own files, even in some cases. So like the FLAC file.
I've seen the music sort of scene where they're sort of going, oh yeah, people are like ditching streaming and they're going back to cassette CDs and stuff. But actually, I think
Like an iPod
music
alternative
and
kind of.
video. Well, yeah, but I think for both video and music, I think what's actually happening is the streaming services of just going shitter and shitter. It used to be that, oh right, Netflix, you replace your $200 a month cable subscriptions with this one service.
Sure.
Yeah.
But now you need $200 of different services again to watch what you want to watch. So I think there's less people ditching it for physical media than there are ditching it for piracy again, and they're just making their own collections again, like on their own machines.
That article
so,
mentions
To me,
them
'cause look, I
putting
get the
ads in
sentiment, okay?
premium services as well.
Yeah, I totally get the sentiment. I mean, and as has been said forever and a day, the two rules of piracy are: if buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing, and if it's piracy is almost never about economics. Like one does not spend, say $6,000 on NASA's to save money on a Netflix subscription. Piracy is very seldom about economics. It's about user experience, right? Like what do I want? I want to be able to watch any show, regardless of origin, on any device I want, the way I want to watch it, when I want to watch it, and know that it will never disappear. There is nothing in the modern ecosystem that offers me that. What offers me that? Plex and rotating medium. So that's what I go with. What is befuddling to me is I love and I get the idea that people are willing to reject, this modern ecosystem. Because, I mean, it has gone full circle from, hey, remember when Netflix came out? You don't need any of this stupid shit anymore. You just watch it for a reasonable price. And now it's back to, okay, and it's not just the $200, but yeah, cable went up to $200 and Netflix was $8. Netflix won. Now you got to have Netflix, Hulu, Disney, blah, 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 and now you're back up to $200. Okay, the money's one argument.
It's not so much the money. It's like, where the fuck is this show I want to, or this film I want to watch? And you've got to search each of the fucking things. And there's meant to be like, search engines that will search them all and tell you, but they're never reliable.
But here's the interesting conversation I keep having with people when we're sitting around talking about stuff like this. Now there is this, and it's the sort of bizarro land here. There are people who are openly talking about, oh, I'm rejecting all this streamerism and all this. I'm just going back to, DVDs and whatever. Okay, great. I love that you are. But why wouldn't you just go over to Plex? It's a fuck of a lot. Or whatever, Jellyfin or whatever. Why wouldn't you just go buy a NAS and stay digital? Why would you go back to DVDs?
Well,
that's the bizarre one to me. But
the argument currently is in the last few months.
Let me finish one thought. Okay, that's part A. Okay, part two. Like, look, I get that you're going to flee this modern ecosystem, but why the fuck would you flee back to DVD when you can just do digital media storage? Okay. Part two. Whenever I have this discussion with people, I'm talking like tech, in tech up to snuff people that would know this stuff or should know this stuff or be capable of understanding this. We're not talking about, Sally Soccer Mom and Tim the Office Park Dad. I'm talking about tech folks. Whenever I bring this up, like, why don't you just go to a digital media, store saying, oh, what? Like, they've never heard of it. They somehow are missing out on this whole entire world of Jellyfin Plex. So to them, the option is going back to DVD. The whole fucking situation is bizarre to me. How do they not know or do these things? But Dave, I just want to finish those two thoughts because they go together.
No, that's fine. And the only thing I was going to say was in the last 3 months, actually, the thought of building a NAS has actually gone a bit tits up because I only use fairly small hard drives in mine, and those hard drives are now they're not as ridiculously expensive, but they're more expensive than I'm willing to pay for an 8 terabyte NAS hard drive. It's like, fuck off. If you want to build anything with any RAM in it, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But then, we were down a pub yesterday with some friends, and we were talking about a show, and they're like, one of them goes, I would want to watch it, but it's on Apple Plus, so it's on Apple, so I'm not watching it. And I'm just like, right, hang on, got my phone out, created a new account on my Jellyfin for them, sent them the password, and then they can just watch it off my Jellyfin, over the road. So,
how is this like a mystery to people? What's the other conversation? It typically goes like this. Hey, are you watching the Game of Thrones? I might ask somebody that. And they're like, oh no, what's it on? Fuck if I know.
The Pirate Bay. What do you think?
It's on the internet.
What do you mean, what's it on? I don't know who did Apple. I don't know who did that thing. I don't care.
Probably HBO.
I have become so, origin agnostic that I don't know and don't care whoever fucking made it. So
yeah. One here from Peter Gibbs. Oh, just before we move off that, Afterglow podcast in the chat says Myriant is being taken down at the end of March. It's not a site I've ever heard of, but he says they have 390 terabytes of games, and the community is trying to save it all before it shuts down. So not one I'd heard of, but I'm going to go and have a look through it later. That was sent in to us today, the article about Myriant, by Charlie, and Chris mentioned it in chat there. One here from Peter Gibbs.
Mike Roku, we had another extremely topical case. Like, we were having this discussion as we were about streaming and all. And the next article was like, well, there's the point in case, right? So one's here also from Peter Gibbs. For those with morals or those without a VPN. And he says here, okay, there's a link, and it's a link to an article on IGN. The Legend of Zelda movie to stream exclusively on Netflix following theatrical release. Okay, let's think this through. Why? It's a theatrical release, okay? Mm-hmm. Then they're going to stream it on Netflix. Okay, so I don't have Netflix. You know why I don't have Netflix? Well, a lot of reasons. They were using Cuties, which is straight up child porn. Mark, you're a father of a daughter. Are you really like, you're going to see 11-year-old girls grinding on things and fucking, it's straight up child porn, okay? Netflix aired that, okay? I'm not paying money for them to do that kind of disgusting shit, right? They did Adolescence, which they basically race swapped a murder in England and made it out that, young white men are the source of all evils. I'm not paying for that shit to insult those kids. And so Netflix has a lot of fucking reasons I would never give them money, okay? So Legend of Zelda is now going to have an exclusive distribution on Netflix. Fuck them. Download it. So that's how we get where we get, But, yes, there are ridiculous decisions that, why not, if this thing were available on DVD or, direct DRM-free download, I would feel like I don't mind buying content. I do it all the time, man. I would absolutely go and buy that, Blu-ray, rip it, so that, I bought some content, because I want them to make the next one, right? So, just absolutely disgusting. They partner with people that are disgusting, and then they fund it. I don't want to be a part of it. So, but I do want to watch Legend of Zelda, which isn't those things. So sometimes it's a son of a bitch, but you got to decouple from these people.
You'll have to go and watch it in a theatre.
Nah, I'll just wait for it to show up on the service.
Peter Gibbs sent one here, more gun controls. And it is the Lightcon, which is the world's first wireless Dreamcast light gun. It's getting a laser-guided overhaul, apparently. I hadn't heard of it before. And they're already upgrading it. So, yeah, it's just got a laser pointer on the front. Probably the same gun, I think, but a laser pointer on the front.
Let's see, where am I now? Peter Gibbs sent this one in. Oh, no, Gareth Hamer. Amazon's God of War series has found its Kratos, and it's Ragnarok's Thor. So this is another one that you can pirate, Scott. This will be coming out.
I wouldn't pirate anything. That's illegal, sir.
That you can stream. This guy, we're all, middle age or so at this point. I just don't know. This guy, Ryan Hurst, he's been in Sons of Anarchy, Remembering the Titans. He portrayed the God of Thor in God of War Ragnarok video game. And apparently he was in The Outsiders and the Walking Dead series for a little bit. But the guy's 49. I'm not saying he can't pull it off, but I'm saying he's 49. And I think to play Kratos, you gotta be pretty fucking jacked. So,
dude, I know dudes my age and older, like mid 50s up to 60s, that are fucking jacked.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman got jacked for
done.
Wolverine, Deadpool for sure.
It can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Peter Gibbs, just to give you an example of an amusing Peter Gibbs email title, Find Love Online. And it's an article about a classic Dreamcast tennis game coming back. You see what he did there?
I see what he did there. David Gyrick has sent one in just with simply Rave Racer, which was the news that, which should be out now. I think it came out, launched this week. Hamster, as part of the Arcade series, has brought Rave Racer to home consoles for the first time. So I think that's probably around 10 to 15 of your country's denomination of currency on most platforms. I think it's a pretty cool game in that series.
You mentioned you were looking for something to play random. Have you picked up Resident Evil 9? I believe that came out this week.
Oh
didn't it?
yeah, that came out today. Yes.
Today.
No, wait. What day
Yesterday.
is it? It's Saturday. Yesterday. No, I've still not done 8 yet, so I'm holding off. I'll pick it up in a sale at some point.
How are the reviews for that thing?
Very good.
Haven't seen any. I just saw that it had landed.
Very, very good. Everyone was saying sort of best Resident Evil since the original Resident
Since
Evil 4.
Resident Evil 8.
So
I
it's,
liked 4, and then I feel like I played. Which one was 5?
4 was brilliant. 5 I thought was pretty
5
bad.
was like
6 I thought
African
was terrible.
zombies.
Yeah, that was not good. What was the one that was like kind of 2-player? There was like a female. Was that 6?
6 was the co-op-y one with
Okay.
the giraffe giving a blowjob on the cover.
I played
I
that
never-
with Neil. Didn't like it.
Never got into the Village one. I think I have a copy of it on my PlayStation 5 or something. Just never. Or no, what's you start off in a house? It's like a house, and there's like some cannibals or something. Is that the Village? Or-
That's 7. That's
7.
It's Resident Evil Biohazard.
Yeah, that one. I think I played it for about an hour, and it just didn't capture me. So I don't know. But you're saying this one's pretty playable?
Yeah, this one's everyone's saying this is best thing since the original 4. It's getting like, well, I think let's have a look. Open Critics got it as an 88 overall, which makes it one of the highest things this year for them. Yeah.
I think I liked 4 so much. I mean, I liked Outbreak a lot, Files 1 and 2, but I liked 4 because it had a little bit of action to it, and it didn't feel as like tedious as some of the other ones.
4 was amazing. Brilliant game.
Yeah.
One from Gareth Hamer. Zelda Sands of Time is the Ocarina sequel I never expected. This is a fan game. I think it's using the same engine as Ocarina. It's just a fan game, but it's got a pretty dark plot, it says. I will grab it while you can, because it might not stick around for long. It's basically a ROM hack for Ocarina that throws in many new ideas and mechanics. So many that it's a completely new game. So maybe grab it early and give it a try.
Speaking of physical media and Resident Evil 9, all the American physical stock of that game, all platforms, went basically out of stock early or late last week, I think. So yeah, don't know if
the
they
game
just
sold
they
out?
don't-
How
they
many
didn't-
did they make? 7?
yeah, I don't know if they didn't want to make them make very many of them because they didn't want to put the cost up, or if they just underestimated how many they.
Sounds like a Nintendo move to me. Ruining neighborhoods everywhere.
So, got another great one that's kind of along these lines of physical media. What do you call it? Demaking. A guy built a floppy disk emulator, or simulator. So, basically, it looks kind of like a big floppy drive, and then he made these floppy disks, and they're not real. The box is just an RFID reader. So what he does is he made up these disks. Simulated discs for his kid, and his kid can stick the floppies in. It reads the RFID, and then it plays that video or movie or what have you. So that's kind of a neat thing to do for your kid, something you kind of remember from your childhood and early adult years. So pretty neat little project there.
Speaking of physical shit, no one sent it in, which is probably quite rightly, but Was it yesterday or Thursday there was a Pokemon 30th anniversary presents doohickey. They started it off with showing, oh look at this like little mini Game Boy we've made, and it's got cartridges that go in, and you're like, all right, yeah, this is Nintendo, like finally releasing a Game Boy Mini, okay. And then you go, yeah, each cartridge has one theme song from Pokemon on it, and there's 34 to collect, and it just plays fucking Pokemon soundtracks, and it's like not even it plays games, and you're like, what the fuck, Nintendo? Come on,
Fuck right off.
sort your fucking selves out.
Had one here from Charlie, Mortal Kombat Trilogy Arcade Edition. A fan made an update to the PC version of the Mortal Kombat Trilogy. However, the link to his video does not play, but I bring it up because earlier today I had the YouTubes on and I saw the trailer for the new Mortal Kombat movie that's going to be coming out. Have you guys seen that yet?
No.
No,
Yeah.
I saw the last movie, but
Yeah, it's with Johnny Cage is kind of starring in this one. You know, it had its moments. It was like, you know, they did the whole Get Over Here and some other stuff. The guy that's playing, it's Carl Urban. Urban is playing Johnny Cage, so might be interesting. I generally like the stuff that Carl Urban does, but I don't know. Something about Mortal Kombat's just kind of. I think it's better when they kind of lean into the camp. This one, they're trying to make it like pretty serious. You know, kind of have that like grittier, like Game of Thrones side to it or something. They're trying to make it seem like super epic, and at least in the trailer. And I was, I don't know. I don't see it doing real well at the box office.
Jumping back to floppy disks, this one came in from Gareth Hamer. Somebody ran Factorio off 1,000 AOL floppy disks, and it took way too long, as you might imagine. So, luckily, all the floppy disks worked, apparently, which Scott had mixed success with recently, but this guy obviously had 1,000 AOL floppy disks sitting about for some reason, for reasons.
So as I kind of read that, maybe I saw a different take on it. But it sounded like what he did is he created disk images and then used some image robot to swap the images, which I didn't kind of get the point of at all. But who can be sure? It's God.
Well, something else that's almost a bit pointless. I sent this in with the text of AD was well ahead of the game with his hardware repair series of videos. That's many of you probably don't know about those, but mostly involved replacing the power cable, and then it works.
The fuse, checking the fuse in the plug.
It's just
Get the fuse in the plug. So this was a Nintendo 64 game that was made for a game jam. You can get it for free on itch.io, and it's called Plug and Repair. And it's a game about plugging a controller into the various of the 4 controller ports on the Nintendo 64 to do things. And that's it.
Yeah.
So here's something I've never heard of. The Xbox Ally. Is that something any of you guys are up on?
Yeah. It's basically a souped up Steam Deck kind of form factor. It's a handheld device, yeah.
Yeah. And it's there was the ROG Ally, which was just the generic one, and then Xbox paid Asus to make a version with an Xbox launcher that front end on it, which isn't very good apparently. But functionally it's not any different to a PC. It's not like actually running Xbox software or console.
Well, that explains quite a bit then. So what a guy did here is that's the future of your Xbox. What he did here is he put a little dongle reader on the bottom that plugs into the USB-C port and has a Game Boy cartridge slot. So he's able to plug in Game Boy cartridge slots and then, I guess, run them in the emulator. So I guess that's what he did there. So I just never heard of an Xbox Ally before. So.
Yeah. One here from Peter Gibbs. It's an actual story. He went to Japan a few months ago. The Nintendo Museum was awesome. Food was hit and miss. Retro stores were fun. Universal Studios and Nintendo World were great. I'm not sure if I'd ever go back, but a Pokemon World in Universal Studios could almost get me there. And he sent us an article about exactly that. Pokemon officially joins Universal Studios, and the early details tease something magical. So they are bringing a Pokemon World to Universal. So is it going to be... Is the one in Japan? Is it going to be LA? Is it going to be Florida? Does it say? Oh, Japan. It's going to launch in Universal Studios Japan. And it says starting with Japan. So if it's successful, I guess it'll make it over to the US as well.
Or not, who knows?
Yeah.
So got one here from Gareth Hamer. It says, the future is now. Are we reaching the handheld game end? Well, yeah, let's see what they say. All right. As I sit here in my chair typing these words, I can spin my chair and stare at the ridiculous situation sitting on the workbench behind me. He's got some retro Geo Pocket and a Asus Xbox Ally again. And he's just sort of going on here that these devices are defining the handheld landscape, and will there be one from manufacturers or whatnot? I think I don't know. PlayStation has already telegraphed what they're doing. For better or for worse, Nintendo already unified with the Switch and the Switch 2 to a blended portable and base station, which I think is forever stupid. But that's what we got. I don't see these companies maintaining the dual line of a handheld and a base station anymore. And yeah, the future will probably go to these little emulator all-in-one tablets. So we'll see.
Got one sent by Gareth Hamer and Peter Gibbs, but Peter Gibbs' subject line is funnier because he says, Double D is a good thing with boobs, less so with games. And this was an article on Games Radar, which was covering the story of a developer that was they spent 2 years making games for the 64DD Nintendo 64 add-on, just for Nintendo to continually say that they sucked and to start from scratch, and found it incredibly degrading. But yes, and was generally probably a waste of time given how that hardware fared in the long run.
Some fella Mike James sent one in that Stern did announce Pokemon Pinball. Probably for Pokemon's hot, man. In fact, do you guys have Costco over there? No.
Yeah.
You know what? Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay. I've been a Costco member for probably 20 years or so. They send something called Costco Connections in the mail. Like, I think it comes every month or maybe it's every quarter, and it's just a little, cheap, kind of slightly smaller than magazine size, like
like a high
catalog.
budget retro magazine.
Yeah. And this one comes in, it's basically printed on toilet paper. I mean, it's cheap shit, but the front, it kind of blew me away. The front cover, it came yesterday in the mail, was fucking Pokemon. It was like, gotta catch them all. Costco selling cases of Pokemon cards. So it makes sense that Stern would make a Pokemon pinball. It's going to be a huge draw. I'm sure that this will be, I was saying earlier, I was getting kind of bored with
Pokemon's about 30 years old now. As far as I remember the first time I remember seeing it was like super mid 90s. Is that jive?
Yeah, I think that's right. It does look fun though. I mean, it looks like a fun game. Has some good ramps and everything. Looks relatively open. And I like those kind of games that have a longer kind of play field. It feels like you can do more with the shots. I hate stuff like the Guns N' Roses where it's so tight up front and you can't do stuff. So looking forward to that one.
Quick show and tell. If I flip the camera there. A 3D print. You can put, it's exactly the right size for Pokemon cards, Magic cards, any trader cards, little photo frame, freestanding. You could whip that bit off the back there and, wall mount it or whatever, but perfect size. And looks
What are you doing with that?
I printed it to put a magic card in.
He takes a drop of Elmer's glue and an irreplaceable Pokemon card and glues it in place.
Yeah.
And then posts on the internet what he's done just to rile up the nerds.
No, I'm going to put a magic card in it. I've got this colour. I ended up with about half a roll after... What did I print with it? I think I printed a few pieces off for somebody.
You're printing Glock switches.
Not quite. I ended up with a bit of a roll left, so it's brown, kind of like a photo frame might be, so I printed a photo frame. What else did I do? Oh, I did one of these, but in brown, and I did one in silver as well. These are locking life counters. So when you're playing any kind of game, just do that on camera there. So you kind of loosen that one. You can rotate the numbered wheels, count your life, and there you go. Locking life counters. So I've been printing a few of those for people playing Magic and stuff like that. I've got a couple of spares for Random as well. We're meeting up in a few weeks, Random. When is it? End of March?
Next week.
No, it's not. Is it? Oh yeah, it is. It's next weekend. Yeah.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday. We're going to meet at Wagamama's, have a Thai meal, and then go into a video game market and buy some nerdy shit and hang out and have a catch up. And I've got some random bits, literally random bits, of old iPods and stuff in there because I know Random's into refurbing iPods. What else have I got in there? I've got a few things in a bag for him anyway. An old tablet.
Swag.
Yeah, an old Android tablet. You're looking for one of them. You can have a photo frame if you want. Put your Pokemon cards in.
You're right.
Do you want it? No. Yeah. No.
No.
No. Rude. Have you
Put
got
a couple of life
Pokemon
counters.
cards? You'll have life. Yeah, I've put a couple of life counters in actually.
All right, cool. I do not have any Pokemon cards anymore. I do have Lorcana.
How's that
as
working out?
Previously mentioned. It's all right.
Is it not a bit kiddified? No.
I mean, it's all very similar principle. It's you're essentially generating an energy / mana pool, and then using that to play people and do abilities. They're all much of the same.
Magic,
just reskinned.
Star Wars Unlimited, Pokemon, Lorcana. Okay, let's get a few more in, and then we'll call it a day in probably about 10 minutes. Is that sound about right?
Sounds
Pretty
good.
good timing.
Okay. Speaking of 3D, which we were, Peter Gibbs says, I hope it's not in 3D. Now, this could go either way because I've not opened it before, so let's see what it is. Oh, yes, I do. It's not a George Lutz one, so we're safe. Metal Band releases new album on N64 cartridge. Who is the band? Does it say? Metal Band Party Cannon.
It was a typo. It's a typo. They're a mental band.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about a mental bird?
Do a mental bird, Ben. Show title, Mental Bird. Oh, actually, I think I've already got a show title. We're getting down to the wire, so I had to plan it. What was it?
The more 3D stuff. Who sent this in? This was David Guyek. Sent in a video that John Romero put on his channel, which is 17 minutes talking to various other developers and things about the making of Catacomb 3D, which was, of course, the game before Wolfenstein 3D, and sort of laying the foundation of what became an entire genre. I've not watched it yet. I've added it to my watch later, and I will watch it as soon as I remember.
This is if you're looking to add some little doodads to your desk or your shelf. Looks like Legend of Zelda is unveiling 40th anniversary release toys. They're being produced by Bandai Namco Candy, which are little tiny palm-sized replicas of Legend of Zelda weapons. They have like a Goro type sword. They have the Master Sword. a shield. They have all Link's bow and arrow from looks like Breath of the Wild, a trident, a scimitar, and some other stuff. Silver longsword, eagle bow. So looks pretty cool. Doesn't say that they're going to be released here yet in the United States, but
A scimitar. Is that kind of like a katana?
yeah, yes, it is.
One from David
what they used-
Gyrick. I'm not sure how well GameStop is doing over there. It seems to go through various phases, but we have a chain over here called Game, and they are shuttering their last remaining standalone stores as they enter administration. So maybe there's a few hidden inside other larger stores, but all the standalone ones
yeah,
are
so-
going.
So what happened about 2 years ago, I think, they all sort of moved them into Sports Direct,
Yeah.
and they tend to be like, just like shoved in a corner, and it's just a collection of, well, I was going to say a collection of Funko Pops. But
There's
actually,
a guy
I mean,
stood next to a cupboard with some stuff in it.
Yeah, the game selection, at least in Sheffield, is pretty shit, and the prices are crap as ever. But there's actually a reasonable sort of board game selection in there, and it's not just mainstream sort of stuff. I mean,
Not just
again,
a
the
guy in a
prices aren't
dirty Mac
brilliant.
opening it up. Go, do you want to buy a watch?
Yeah. But yeah, that was Gareth Hamer also sent that. Well, I don't know if it's the same one because it was about them going into administration again.
One from Peter
So, yeah.
Gibbs.
Look, good time for game.
Peter Gibbs says, not really news. And he explains, it's just a ROM hack and not really news. But you said you get fuck all news this time of year, so here you go.
There's a ton of news in here this
There
month.
is. Yeah, we've not been getting through
Well,
them
a
all
load
for
of
a
it's
few months.
holdover from January, but
Yeah. I do like the opening line about your personal ninja journey, he says. Mine was wandering around in Last Ninja on the C64 and not really knowing what I was doing, followed by a fair bit of Ninja Gaiden on the links. So it's a ninja-related story, and it's a hack for Shinobi that gives the Master System port of Shinobi a shot in the arm. Does it say quickly what it does? I can't see that it does. It probably does, and I'm too lazy to read through it all. But it's a hack for Shinobi on the Master System.
one sent in by Gareth Hamer and me. Nothing interesting in his subject line, but mine says 2001 was my jam, but I'm down to give this a go. And it was the news that Epic have given their blessing for the old Unreal project to release a version of Unreal Tournament 2004 that automatically downloads the relevant original ISO, and packages it dynamically for your operating system and installs it. So if anyone out there in our community wants to start getting into Unreal Tournament 2004, drop some stuff in the Discord, and we'll see if we can get some matches going.
Do you guys apparently you have Burger King over there? This one was sent in from
Dude, you literally need to come to this country.
I haven't been there in like 20 some years.
We know.
October, Blackpool.
To be fair, he'll end up in Blackpool, and Blackpool does not have Costco or Burger King or any other American chains.
That is true.
I mean,
The popular British ones.
I'm just surprised you have Burger King because it's kind of shit here. Like it's basically a restaurant for like
Same.
urban fight for people to like record urban fights to put on like World Star Hip Hop. Like it's terrible. The food is like by far one of the worst. Maybe Jack in the Box is worse than that. But
It's,
I mean,
I
Burger King,
would say Burger King here is slightly better than McDonald's.
really.
Yeah, well, I hate McDonald's anyway, but yeah. Burger
Yeah.
King, I would
I'd
say, is
go with that.
considered a bit more upmarket than McDonald's.
Actually, huh.
Except here's the problem. So Burger King is slightly upmarket from McDonald's, but whereas you can go get like a not real beef patty on fake bread with bullshit, just garbage for like $13. I can just then go over to Texas Roadhouse and get a steak for 20. What's your point? I mean, I do not understand
Yeah.
at all how they exist.
No.
The only fast food place I ever even bother with anymore is Chick-fil-A, but that is few and far between.
I like
Got one
KFC.
here from.
Wait! I didn't even do the story yet.
Oh, I thought you did.
In the UK, Burger King is rolling out AI headsets that track employees' friendliness. So it's a system called BK Assist. What the hell is the name of the thing? And it's gonna like listen.
That sounds like the fucking fungus that tunnels into the ant's brain and drives the ant around. Oh, you're smiling. I picture something that's got like little like little hooks that come down and then like force a smile. You know.
It's being the chatbot is being named Patty, and it's gonna like chirp in people's ears whenever like they're running low on Diet Coke and it needs restocked, and it's gonna like listen to how often they're saying please and thank you, and it's gonna like judge their friendliness and let it's just weird. Like I can't
I'm seriously, I picture fish hooks with little servos, and whenever like the corporate wants you to smile, and then zip, the fucking fish hooks pull back the corner of the mouth. You know?
Yeah. But like I don't know,
as well.
maybe just have
Prize. I'm gonna offer a prize. See if you boys are in with me, okay? I don't know how the hell this gets out beyond our show, but I will put up. I'll put up $1,000 for the first person that puts one of these in a fucking deep fryer and then mails me the fucking lump. And like it has to be legit, no bullshit. And you were quitting anyway, so just put the fucking thing in the deep fryer and be done with it.
Don't believe him, guys. He already owes me 110. because he couldn't figure out PayPal.
Oh no, they fucked it up. It's gotten worse.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand is this is supposedly for tracking interactions with customers and stuff. And like last time I went into a Burger King, it's you order on a touchscreen, and then just like someone like just puts a bag on the counter that you pick up. There's no interaction at all. It's just like you go right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you become a number. Number 47. Yeah, that'd be me.
It's friendly.
One here from Charlie. Unreleased Virtual Boy games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. 2 of them, apparently. Zero Racers, I believe, is one. Do you know what the other is, random? Is it? Oh, it's a pinball one, isn't it? Galactic
what
Pinball.
was it called? I had a joke about people's mamas being called the name. Because it looks a bit like what was the Jumping Flash on the PlayStation a little bit. Shit, what was it called?
I know not of what you speak.
It's like D Jumper or something. Or something like that. It's like or D Hopper. That's it. Because I was saying, yeah, your mum is a D Hopper.
I've not heard of D Hopper.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how long.
Here from Peter Gibbs, I wanted to give him credit for. And it's funny if he says, this sounds user-friendly if that user is Scott. I thought, what I do? So this guy did a really, really freaking cool. I've got a couple up here. Here we go. The Nintendo, the new Game & Watches like that, right? And those things, when they came out, I thought it was genius. Now, obviously, if it's got the processing power to run, say, Legend of Zelda or Mario, it clearly has the processing power and ability to run all others. Now, some of these were more hackable than others were, and there is in particular one that these guys went through, and they desoldered the onboard storage, added an additional larger one. So basically, they could put in a NAND, they could put in their firmware, and then they added an external bridge to an SD card. So now they can have pretty much all the ROMs on the SD card and run it all on that little Nintendo handheld. That is clever. That's a lot of freaking work to achieve that.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. As long as it's got enough buttons for the games you want to play.
Well, A, B, and a D-pad. What else do you need, right? Nintendo.
Yeah. What is this? Quick one from David Gyrick as we are nearing the end. The Switch is now officially Nintendo's best-selling console ever, and the Switch 2 is still the fastest.
Wow.
I really do not get why people are jumping on the Switch 2 so in such big numbers. I really don't.
One of my
It befuddles
employees,
me.
we just got a bonus at
It
work.
befuddles my cracker mind.
She went out and bought
Absolutely
one.
befuddles my crack of mind.
She just went out and bought one. Was like so excited about it. She's like 23 maybe, and I'm like, well, what the hell are you playing on it? And she's like, oh, I'm playing Legend of Zelda. I'm like, yeah, from the last system. Like, I have not picked up Metroid. I don't know. The reviews weren't great for it, so I never ended up getting it. I thought that Donkey Kong game was shit. I mean, the Mario Kart game was fine, but it's like I need something else.
Yeah. Just
And there's
don't
not a
get
lot
it.
on the horizon by the looks of things at the moment.
Certainly not exclusives.
I did look and saw that Resident Evil 7 or whatever 9 is sold out everywhere, including Amazon.
I did want to just mention that quite a few people submitted this. The father of Sega consoles has passed away. Hideki Sato, the designer of the majority of Sega consoles, passed away a couple of weeks ago. A few people sent that in. Thank you to all those who did. Time critical one here. It's on Kickstarter with 11 days to go. It's called Losing Sight, Finding Vision, an Atari Insider's Story. And it's a paperback memoir about 90s Atari game development. Does it say who is providing the information? It's a Kickstarter hosted by Jeffrey Wittenhagen. Not a name I know. He's an author. Does it say who he's spoken to about it to get the information? I can't.
Kieran Hawken.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great.
maybe. Copy and paste. Yeah, so 11 days to go. Less than that by the time you hear this. So if you want it, check it out on Kickstarter. Link will be in the show notes. As
Also,
will-
one last dear departure.
Hmm?
The Iranian supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei he is no longer with us. He wished us death
Whoa.
so many
Is that
times.
Is that
He
legit?
chanted. Oh,
Really?
Yes.
Oh, right.
He chanted death to us all so many times that he's gone, but not forgotten.
Not forgotten. Yes, so thank you to everyone who sent us news items this month. Mostly Gareth Hamer, David Gyrick, Peter Gibbs with his amusing titles. And yes, show will be a couple of days late. Obviously, we're doing this on the last day of February. I've got a busy day tomorrow, so it's going to be a couple of days before it all gets thrown together and hurled out onto the internet with blatant disregard. But yeah, we will catch you again next month. We will
And
also.
Reckless Abandon, Michael. Don't forget Reckless Abandon.
Oh yeah, there's some Reckless Abandon thrown in there. Yeah, definitely. A couple of harumphs. Yeah, we will also try and get you that updated discussion about what systems and games we're including in the top 10s. Hopefully that will be next month, but you never know, you're lucky in this game. So thank you everyone who joined us. Spinal did make it. I meant to say it when he dropped in. He said, whoo, on time. He was actually about an hour and a half late, but we'll let that slide. But he did make it nonetheless. So thank you, everybody. And we'll catch you again next month. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
And
everybody.
farewell to the Ayatollah of rock and roller.
The Ayatollah of rock and roller. Nice.
The Revolutionary Guard said that he denied he's dead and said he's commanding in the field.
He's just not feeling very well. It's like that. Who was the Iraqi? You remember in one of the Gulf Wars, the guy No, it's fine. We're winning. Don't worry. The Americans aren't here.
Dude, Baghdad Bob was the
Baghdad
best.
Bob.
Look, dude, I tell you, Baghdad Bob was the fucking best, right? What he did is he literally he was the press secretary, whatever you call it, spokesperson
Yeah, spokesperson.
for the Iraqi regime. So there'd be they'd have the camera set up, and he'd be on this building's rooftop, right? And you'd see American Abrams tanks going right down the main highway and shit exploding. He'd be like,
We're winning.
The Americans are not in the city. Do not believe them. It is all officially lies. I tell you what, man, that dude, he totally misread the room, okay? Nobody in America, I think, was really mad at Baghdad Bob. We just thought he was fucking great.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he was the pitch man for bullshit, you know?
It's fantastic.
Can you imagine, picture this also, in, the context of that time. If that guy had, taken a job, say, with, Letterman's show, or, David Letterman, or, the UK equivalent, that Graham guy or whatever. Can you imagine, if he came on and just did the news, but it was all total bullshit? It would have been a fucking hit, man. He could have rolled that into a whole new career.
It'd be on the
He could have moved
BBC.
No, think about it. He could have moved to the BBC. He could have moved to LA. He could have set up a fucking he could have been a great pop culture guy and had a very nice retirement out of it. But no, he didn't do that.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And to Ayatollahs everywhere.